Is it recording? All right. Be yourself. Everything will come into place. Stop comparing. Stop forcing anything. Just do what you got to do. And I promise you, given that you're working and you're striving to become something, to become someone, everything will eventually fall into your hands. You gotta let life fall naturally. Stop overthinking things. In the moment, do the most that you can and learn to live with what you did. Learn to live with regrets. Learn to live with accomplishments. Learn to live with the things you've done in the past, bad or good. You know, because we can't change the past. All we can do is accept what we did, accept what has happened, and continue to live on. You know, they say the past is who you are, but I don't think so. I think the past is kind of like a person that we used to be and a person that we can become again. Not in the sense that we can become that person exactly, but fall back into the same emotions and the same perspective. But the problem with that is things are never exactly the same when you see it, when you try to see it the way you used to see it. Things always change. Things are always different. People are always different. People act different eventually. You know, so you gotta flow with life. You gotta flow with change. You gotta accept change and you gotta learn to love yourself because life goes on. We can't stop it. Life moves on without you. Whenever you're feeling down, whenever you're feeling depressed, whenever you're angry, life doesn't care. We continue to move on and it doesn't wait at all. So I think the main goal in succeeding in life is learning to accept yourself and learning to be yourself. You see, social media is the prime example of why people got to learn to stop comparing, because all social media really does, especially Instagram, is force you to compare with other people's lives. I mean, now we're kind of getting more of a sense of the evil powers social media has, and we use it in a way that benefits us. But the general aspect of it is people looking at it as a way of gaining acceptance from everyone else. Yeah, like who cares? Who cares if you succeed? Who cares if you're failing in life? You know, don't try to see somebody else's point of view and try to match their energy. You know, on Instagram, a lot of people see, and I say this in quotations, succeeding in life. But more often than not, a lot of those people are only taking those photos to really portray an image that isn't real. Manipulation at its finest. Like, people are complaining about AI is manipulating photos, this and that. But motherfuckers have been manipulating photos for the longest, since Instagram started. They might seem happy, they might be joyful in their photos, but behind closed doors, they're depressed, they're mad, they're feeling jealous about somebody or something, they're envious, they have a lot of anxiety. They seem like a social person, but in reality, you try to talk to them, they can't even keep up a conversation. I see social media like I like to compare it to a false reality. And you can't find yourself with something that isn't real. If you got to take a break from the phones, from the technology, do so. If it benefits you in the long run, I suggest that you should do it. I highly suggest it. Succeeding in life doesn't come unless we learn how to love ourselves, unless we accept ourselves, unless we strive to be ourselves. So stop all this nonsense. Don't look at the next person for advice. I mean, you can, but don't try to mirror whatever the next person is doing. Seek help if you need to. Advice is cool, but at the end of the day, no one could tell your story. No one can paint your picture. Only you can. When it comes to the past, stop thinking about what could have been. Learn to live with regret. Learn to live with what you've done. Learn to live with past experiences. I think of the past as memories for stories to tell. We live in the moment to make experiences for the stories to be told in the future. I think that's the only way we should be able to look at the future and use the past as reference. You know, because I think most of our lives we should be in the moment. We should be living in the now. Be present. Because what good does the past actually have other than tell stories about something that already happened or something that doesn't even exist anymore? The past also just brings depression, brings in anger, brings in a lot of negative emotions that ultimately create a downfall. And then when we talk about the future, it creates anxiety. We pressure ourselves too much. We become indecisive. We don't trust our own guts. We're not confident in ourselves. We have to learn with what we've done. We have to learn with our decisions that we make. Build that confidence, you know? Don't stray away from it. Something happens, take that shit to the chest. I say this every video, but it's true. Like 100 years from now, none of this is gonna matter. So why not make the most out of what we have today and make the most out of what we have around us? Don't be a sore loser. What's that saying from Rocky? It's all about how many times you can get hit and keep moving forward. You know, life is all about taking L's because the L's are experiences. The L's is what really teach us. But nowadays, everybody's so scared to take a loss. Everybody's so scared to be the fool. Everybody's so scared to be themselves. You know, that's not right. That's not right. Everyone should be having the confidence and the courage to strive for what they believe is right, to strive to accept for acceptance and just be who they want to be, genuinely. Not because somebody else is doing it, because you just mirroring something that ain't real for you. You know, and just find that inner peace. Without it, you know, we always running through our thoughts. And I think thoughts and overthinking is essentially the mind killer. It's essentially what destroys the magic we have now, the present moment. Overthinking, it poisons a lot of people's brains. It poisons a lot of people's thought process. A lot of us grow up thinking that's the right way to think and thinking it's the only way to think, but it's not. You know, we could stray away from it, but obviously it's with practice. We could change the way we think. We could change the person we are. We could learn to be ourselves because we decided to change. Awareness. It's all I always think about. You know, when I'm overthinking shit, I learned that half the shit that I'm thinking ain't even real. I'm creating stories in my head. I'm creating scenarios in my head that ultimately give me anxiety, that ultimately bring fear. Fear is the mind killer. There's a scene from the first Dune movie that I always remembered. Let me see if I can find the quote. I must not fear. Fear is the mind killer. Fear is the little death that brings obliteration. It's true. Whenever we sense fear, I think is a way to understand that feeling is coming because we're not accustomed to what's happening in front of us. It's natural to sense fear, but understand that once we attack it, it ain't as bad as it seems. As long as we have courage and we have belief in ourselves, you know, fear becomes a friend instead of an enemy. It becomes a reminder. So understand that fear isn't a bad thing. So find that inner peace, be peaceful with yourself, find people who love you and people who you can talk to, who you can genuinely talk to, and just be yourself and everything will fall into place. I promise you. This is Left in Between, hosted by your boy, Mike Valentine, aka Trigger Mike, the one and only. Y'all heard it here first, all right? Y'all be easy.